Imagine a situation where you worked hard to earn gold. But when the time comes to claim it, something just doesn't feel right. Something that stops you from within. What do you do? Follow your plan or follow your guts? I once reached a similar stage in my life where I gave in my best efforts to visit the world's largest nuclear research center. But when the time came, I refused to give up even a single entrance exam for science, let alone nuclear physics, not even engineering. So, from a studious science student, I am now a communication designer by profession, and I also like to call myself an illustrator at times. I love drawing, I love doodling, I love napping, and I also love making to-do lists. So the thing about to-do lists is that they help you feel organized. They help you plan your work in a way that it looks achievable. The funny side to my love towards to-do lists is that I've never really managed to finish once, not even once. So, since I already mentioned that I used to be a studious student, I was an easy child in that sense for my parents. But I certainly do remember getting in trouble multiple times for collecting scrap papers. Scrap papers from wedding cards, gift wrappers, and even price tags. I made a lot of stuff from it, from birthday cards to scrapbooks to even first page of projects and different things. And amongst a lot of other things that were happening parallelly in my life, I got an opportunity to visit CERN, that is the European Center for Nuclear Research. During one of our regular physics classes, our physics professor once threw us an opportunity of visiting there and experiencing it live. I obviously wanted to go because who wouldn't? I almost forgot that my family had to think for months before actually starting to plan a trip. And without hoping for much, I asked my father to let me. One of the biggest privileges of my life is having parents who are supportive towards me, towards my education, and who would go to any extent to help me with my education. Without much hesitation and with struggles that I cannot even define, my father sent me off to Geneva for a week. Now, this trip was full of visits to different areas of CERN, meeting some noteworthy people, and a lot of science. Science that I realized that I couldn't digest so easily back then. I did understand that my father paid a heavy price for this trip, so I couldn't just let it go waste. The pressure of not letting your plan go waste. I tried my best of putting in my side of efforts, of putting it to some good use. This trip could make my plan a lot easier. But they say life is what happens when you're busy planning it. So I happened to be attending an animation workshop while I was still overwhelmed by this trip. Not really taking part, but more like forced to take part. And I met these two amazing people, Mayur and Sahib, who used to be animation students from National Institute of Design back then. What they brought into my life was an alien concept that I could never even imagine back then. I never really knew that design could be more than just a hobby, that it was a real career. So you might have experienced this, that life has miraculous ways of helping you. They'll drive people into your life, they'll put you into certain situations, but you'll find yourself doing things that you might not have been, that you might even have thought of. So I couldn't just ignore this thought of choosing design as a career, and after a lot of cajoling and connecting the dots, I gave in. My initial plan wasn't working, and I didn't want to make one anymore, because I now wanted to do design. A lot of drama and a lot of tantrums. This is what I expected my middle class family to show their reaction like. But I never really knew that my family had a far more broader horizon than mine. You know, as you grow, your parents also grow with you. They learn new things, develop new interests, and they start questioning old habits. My parents, of course, a little hesitantly, decided to let me pursue design. For now, this might look like the battle was already won, but this was the battle that just began. As soon as I started giving the entrance exams for design, I couldn't get in. I failed. Not only was this the first real failure of my life, it was this big question mark on my decision. My decision of choosing design over science, where I could have really done well. But instead of growing weak, I actually grew even more determined. And once I got in where I needed to be, life was pretty different from what it was before. From a studious front bencher to a lazy class bunker, I learned the art of balancing both. I learned to work hard and then started understanding when to work hard or smart. My college, being a fashion institute, exposed me to a lot of glamorous and a lot of fashion brands that I had never really saw in my life before. The college brought the fancy in my real life. At the end of third year, we were supposed to start an internship, which actually meant that I would get to apply all that I had learned till now. So I started looking for places where I really wanted to work. The glam didn't fancy me enough to want to be a part of it yet. So moreover, I wanted to be at places which could really benefit from my work. And I happened to chance upon this social venture that who were also looking for interns at that time. So this startup, the social venture, is based in Kanpur itself, for those of you who don't know. They are on a mission to process temple flowers into products like incenses, vermicompost, and a biodegradable alternative to styrofoam. And they also aim at employing women in this process. These women who were underrepresented, who had experienced social negligence in their lives. After joining, I worked on multiple projects, one of which involved introducing these women to their audience. Now, as I mentioned, these women had suffered a lot of social negligence and had been neglected, had been ill-treated by society just because they had been part of odd jobs in their lives, odd jobs like manual scavenging. So what we did was, we did a campaign called She the Hero. From women who were not even respected before, we treated them like our heroes, heroes on mission, heroes who traveled from buses to their work, heroes on a mission to save the river Ganga. Currently, I'm working on a project that involves introducing their biodegradable styrofoam to their audience. And I have never really worked on something like this before. It is way beyond my comfort zone. But you can't just change your life without going out of your comfort zone. You know, as they say, you have to have a plan. They keep asking you, what is the next step? What is it that you're going to do next? But I learned this the very hard way. Have a plan or don't have a plan. It is not important to have a plan. You can't just plan on missing out on the stars by just planning to watch the sunrise. I still do get asked, what is my plan after this? So here's my answer. I'm a 22-year-old who's graduating this year and I don't have a plan. The only decisions I make is take the first step, then take another and have a little faith in myself. That is all.